All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the alaracanfieldshow, the Awaken to Happiness Now global series. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And today, my good friend Cathleena Hailley is back with us, and we're going to be talking about restoring the original soul fragmentation and releasing the imprint of judgment from the brain and body series. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about the 9-week activation series, restoring the beginning soul fragmentation imprint, and so much more. I think I said more on Facebook, etc. But this is going to be talking about brain chemistry. We're going to be talking about experiencing soul fragmentation or quantum entanglement. We're going to be talking about brain as frequency, as sound and light, and how we can bring the brain itself into a synergy with all the body systems. And of course, so much more. We're going to be talking about stepping into the brain and body systems with a 0 point of brain function as an understanding. So we're going to talk to Cathleena about that. And so for those of you who don't know Cathleena, she's been with us many, many times. We love having her on the show. She brings this powerful presence and this powerful connection to 0 point as well. She is an embodiment of the divine feminine who works with the Council of Nine Collective, and in particular with Jesus, Metatron, and other ascended masters. And her coding accesses the womb water of an individual's birth so that they are brought back to their original soul expression, creating a rebirth to allow full expression of the soul's imprint. And as the lineage of the life architect, her crystalline DNA signature not only carries the frequency of perfect pitch to align to the original human template, earth template, and this universe's template, but continually recalibrates this alignment. So I'm so glad that Cathleena is back with us, and she did not have any trouble too much during the hurricane. So Cathleena, welcome back to the show. So glad you're here.
Yeah, thank you, Laura. Always great to be here. Yes, and happy that I did not have much happen during the hurricane as well. And again,
Yes,
my
absolutely,
heart goes out to Florida for everybody who did, but
for sure. And then I'm
great.
sure there's a lot of cleanup still happening, and restoration and rebuilding.
Yeah.
Um, And I forgot to mention at the beginning, if you do have a question for Cathleena, you can raise your hand, or you can write the question in the chat, because we are going to be taking some live color questions. So, so Cathleena, where would you like to start today? I know we're talking about restoring the original soul fragmentation and releasing the imprint of judgment from the brain and body series. But
Mhm.
I want to talk first, I guess I wanted to ask you a little bit first about hold on 1 second. Let me just open something up here. 1 second.
Sure.
All right. So I wanted to talk a little bit first about, we like you've been on the show before many times, which has been fantastic. But I want to talk a little bit about your journey too, um, that has brought you to where you are today, and why you are here, and why you are working with soul fragmentation, for example, restoring the original soul fragmentation and releasing the imprint of judgment, especially. That is such a big topic, the releasing the imprint of judgment. That's huge,
Right.
right?
Right.
Um, and there's so much involved in that, right? And you've been in this brain and body series, we have to, I guess, understand too that we are not, the brain is not separate from the body, and the body is not separate from the brain. There is a connection, and there's a, uh, interrelatedness with it, right, as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
So let's first start off with, because people who may not have heard you before, seen you before, may want to know about your journey a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I guess what wants to come forward is to just say a little bit about my soul signature and who I am. So from my story of myself, I came in the world with this idea that I'm on, and so I've had an awareness of something about myself that's been different from anybody else for pretty much ever. And through my journey, which I'm going to start up here and backtrack a little bit, I've come into recognizing that I carry a very large geometry in terms of my consciousness. And just to say a little bit, consciousness is different from the conscious mind. Consciousness itself, which is source, is information. So think of source as like a giant library of information. So that's what I'm referring to, is my particular consciousness is just a large library of geometries and information. And where my origination is, my particular consciousness originates from direct source and carries the original creation codes of just creation itself. And so that's why I carry the 0 point, because I'm in that the energetics of my particular consciousness sits at that 0 point of a place of no thing and all possibilities. And so what I'm able to recognize is, and part of where I've decided to incarnate is as an original seeder of this experience, of the earth experience. So I have that, and also having an origination with the false matrix. So the origination of the matrix and the false matrix. So having a knowing of all of it, having an awareness of all the intricacies of the original blueprint of the human genome and the original organic blueprint. So I'm able to look at all of that and see where the genetic distortions have come in, what they're like, what's happening, all the different things, and all the different incarnations. We as human beings are made up of 21, I think, or it should be 22 different galactic species, basically, is what's taken place. And there's been a lot of genetic manipulations and crossings and so on. And so I'm able to really experience that and experience all the different consciousnesses with that. And so that's why my whole sort of purpose here is to help unwind all of those aspects of the distortion that were related to, we're calling the false matrix, which is, for those that maybe don't know what that is, that everything is a hologram. So all that you see outside of us is just your own kind of your own play that you're writing, whatever it is. And the false matrix is where we as humanity have forgotten that we are source consciousness having an experience. We become the experience, and what that experience that we become has been given to us. So we're being guided down these pathways, and those pathways that we're being guided down are all about frequency and energy, and they're creating your physical body, they're creating your life, and it's all about limits, limitations, so on and so on. And so really, because I'm able to look at all of that, and I'm kind of summing this up very quickly because it's very vast and where we could go with all these conversations, is that simply, the easiest part, if we could just let go and be in the 0 point, which is the 0 point is a place of no thing and all possibilities. It is the place of the present moment without any judgment. And that's why judgment is such a huge piece. But we are so guided in so many different ways of having judgments and things, because we're not, on this planet, we're not guided to be our authentic self and simply show up as your uniqueness. You're guided to show up as something and someone in some capacity. And all of these things are creating energetic frequencies and things. And so for the average person that may not know the language I'm speaking about, it just means that your physical body can have things that you don't like. You can have your life in ways that you're not desiring. You can have financial difficulty, all kinds of things that are all based on attachments of energies and frequencies. And emotions, really different emotions is how it kind of works. So hopefully that answered.
Awesome, thank you. Yep.
Yeah.
And of course, you work a lot with 0 point, right? And we've heard a lot about 0 point on these shows and, in the collective. So how would you describe the 0 point? Because I know sometimes we've asked this question in the past, and I think sometimes people still don't get it.
Yeah.
So, can you describe it? And of course, if you can give us ways that a person can experience it on their own as well, that'd be great.
Yeah. So the 0 point simply is the now moment without any judgment. It's literally being absolutely present. So the experience of it is this recognition that I got my feet on the floor, I'm looking out my eyes, I'm in my space, and I'm literally in my heart, which means that I'm in the no thing and the all possibilities. It means it's brand new. It means I'm allowing myself to have an absolute authentic experience. So, but that's not what we're doing. And how to get from where we are to the 0 point is that, so we want to start to notice, and this is where I have to get a little bit wordy, and this is where it feels like, which commonly wants to come in, is about just explaining the actual creative process and what we do and what's happening with us. So I mentioned before that we're consciousness. Consciousness is information, and that we are this library of information. And what we do in order to create a physical, to have a physical experience, is we take this, your consciousness, we'll call your soul, right, which is your library of information. It's basically the software, just like in a computer, so the software tells the computer what to do. So we basically take this and we download this into our brain. The brain is like the computer, it's the hardware. And then we communicate that information to the body. And think of the body as like a giant mall of people. And so I'm either going to be in synergistic communication or I'm not. Maybe I'm judging some. What am I doing in that communication? And so a couple things about that. One is, which I've explained before, is that first of all, we're not downloading our consciousness into our physical brain. What we're doing is we're sitting in these little boxes. They're pentagonal shaped boxes, very specifically like a little pentagon, which is a 5-sided container. A 5-sided container is a closed grid container. So we're sitting in these little boxes, listening to a book being read, and we're communicating that book to our body. And what that is the book is basically the collective beliefs of what, we're told what it means to be a man or a woman or whatever it is. And so your dialogue, you're taking that and you're dialoguing that to your body. And so what are the boxes? The boxes are basically the parameters of something that you want to create. Is the belief system. So in other words, an example might be if I say, how do I make money? Well, whatever my belief system is in relationship to how I make money is what makes up those edges of the boxes, because it's a closed grid, it's a limited belief system. So this is what's going on. So the first thing is I have to be able to break out of the box. And the only way to do that is the very first thing I have to do is I have to acknowledge how my current situation is serving me. And I'm going to explain that for a minute, because the literal creative process for us as humans, as in a physicality. Now we can create with our hands, we can move around, right? But we also, as energy and frequency, we create. So every single thought comes out of your head as a geometric shape. And that thought is the masculine mental, it's the blueprint of your creation. It's basically the paper or the canvas, every single thought. Then you add an emotion to that thought. The emotion is a frequency. That emotion is the spiritual feminine, it's the creator creation. It is the person and the pencil. So, the thought is the paper, the emotion is the person and the pencil. When you take a thought, you add an emotion, you hold it 14 seconds or longer, then it moves into the unified field. The unified field is the 0 point. It's the place of all frequencies. So it finds a match to that, ends up going out into the universe, comes back into your reality, and that's how it creates, comes back in your body. So you're literally creating here. So like I said, the first things we have to recognize is I'm sitting in these limited boxes, and I'm dialoguing these things to myself. And so, if I say I don't, I want something to change in my world, well, first of all, I am consciousness, and I'm having an experience. That's what I'm here for. We're here for the experience. So the idea of quantum entanglement is when I forget that I'm source, having an experience called Cathleena, and I become Cathleena, and then it's like, who have I become? So that's where I have to notice first, because I am choosing that. So the first thing I notice, what have I become? And whatever that energetic, I have to decide how it's serving me, because it's serving me in some way, even if it's something I feel I don't like. Okay, so I have to have that recognition. So once I do that, and and I'll just give my example. I like to tell my example where I used to wake up in the morning and I would hear, you're such a failure, such a failure. And I would say, oh my God, I want to run around and fix things. And then I woke up one morning and I'm hearing, you're such a failure. And the idea, in order for us to move from the head to the heart, because this is the idea of going from what I call the false neutrality to the authentic 0 point, because we're sitting in our head most of the time. So we got our feet on the floor, looking at our eyes, but I'm in my head. I'm dialoguing in my head. I'm not in the authentic 0 point. So in my case, what's going on in my head? So I've got this dialogue, I'm such a failure. And so then you notice, what is the emotion in relationship to that? So I noticed the emotion in relationship to that. And then I noticed that there was some comfort to that. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. So once I noticed the comfort, now, next day I wake up, I'm still hearing that, you're such a failure. But now I can say, I might not know what success is, but I know I don't want to feel this. At that point, now I've moved into my heart space. So I'm in the unknown. And what begins to happen in that space is then you can start to have, which it'll start to bring into its own life, where it was like, well, what really is success anyway? And what is failure? And whose voice is this? And what's happening? And so you're beginning to wake up to what it is that you are creating and thinking. So the process is, I'm in my own space. I'm in the privacy of my own space, because this is the millionaire. This is the relation. Everything is right here. We are consciousness having the experience through this body. So it's like I got my feet on the floor. I'm looking out my eyes. I'm noticing my thought. Then I notice my emotion. And more importantly, notice what the emotion is doing to this vehicle. Because that's what I described to you, is that I noticed the feeling, and I noticed there was comfort in the feeling. But say you're like in a place and you're like, oh my God, I don't know where my money's coming from. And you've got this panicky thought, and then you've got this tension. So just focus on the tension and release that. Breathe and release that tension. The minute you release that tension, now I've moved from my head to my heart. Now I'm in the 0 point. Now I'm in that space. But what happens is I'm in the unknown. And we're taught, don't be in the unknown, be in the known. So immediately you're going to go back in your head. So we have to practice that letting go. And this is where I like to talk about, so, in order to create in a physicality, we have to have a kind of container, okay, in order for us to create something physical, right? So think about the container of the physical body, like, the egg and the sperm, where the egg has kind of container and the sperm is, entering into the egg. So the egg is information, the sperm is information, because this is what consciousness, they're both consciousness. Consciousness just exchanges information with each other. That's what it does. And it would continue to expand unless we have a container. So the egg is kind of container, the sperm enters, they end up exchanging information, but they create kind of on top of each other to create a physicality because of that kind of container. Well, we also have that within us, and this is different from our auric field. These are these different templates that I talk about, the different templates. Well, imagine if that container were a room, and you have in the corner of the room a candle lit. And so that would mean you have like 25% of the room is light. That means 75% of the room is dark. So the difference between light and dark is information. And that light is information, dark is absence of information. So in that information would be you. So if that were the scenario in your body, that would mean 25% of my body is me. That means 75% is something else. What is that something else? It's the collective beliefs. It's my parents. It's my partner. It's whatever that I'm carrying. But if we talk about that scenario in the room, all I have to do is expand that light across the room and all the darkness goes away. It's exactly the same thing within this vehicle. But see, and so it's through your breath. That's why I say is if we let go, it's all about letting go and expanding. That's how we get in and stay in the 0 point, is letting go, expanding our light. Because, we're taught, think about it, in fear, we're taught to pull away. But if I pull away in the scenario in the room, I'm taking my light away. And then I'm just creating more of that I don't desire. So it's the backwards. This is the false matrix, is everything is inverted. So the inverted aspect of us not being able to be in the 0 point, which is really where we live. We are the 0 point. And the 0 point is, pure source. It is ourselves as our multidimensional selves. It is not the no thing. We are one with all in that. But it literally is the letting go and the being in the now moment. So this is the practice. So I start to notice, what is my thought? What is my emotion? What is it doing right here? And this is the magic of how we can create or change our lives so instantaneously, is I have all that right here. I just notice what's happening to this vehicle. Am I holding my breath? Am I tensing? And when we let that go, now I'm letting my light And like my practice is I say, I'm going to keep my heart open no matter what, no matter what. And what that means is I'm going to let myself feel, because what's happening is everything's energy and frequency. Okay, this is all we're doing, is matching frequencies in order to be comfortable. That's all we're doing, because we're frequency. As source consciousness, which is as we are, if I let go, no other frequency can sustain itself in source except source. What happens is when I shrink my energy, now I'm matching other frequencies, denser frequencies that are around me, and this is what I'm doing. I'm contracting and I'm shrinking my light. But if I, allow myself to let go, so what happens is when I say I'm going to keep my heart open no matter what, and I'm going to feel, what's going to happen is I'm releasing those energies that I've been carrying. And because everything's about a match, it's still going to create a match. Okay, and the idea of matching frequencies is simply just think of emotions, and faster moving frequencies always try to raise slower ones up, right? So think about it like if you and I come around each other and I'm happy and you're mad, I'm going to irritate you because I'm vibrating at a faster rate. As long as I maintain my happy, you only have two choices. You get happy with me or you go away. This is the idea. So, because my body has been vibrating at these denser rates of fear and whatever it is that I've been holding, as I begin to let go and I say, I'm just going to feel whatever, doesn't matter, whatever, I'm going to let myself feel. I'm breathing, and so I'm going to be dissipating those energies, but because they're finding a match, I'm going to be aware of them. And so my goal is just to keep breathing and practicing letting go. Just like I'm right here, I have a choice, and letting them just dissipate, out to wherever they go, and not pulling them back in. Okay, so that's the most important. Keep noticing, and noticing the pattern of when I begin to feel something, immediately wants to tell a dialogue. Like say you go out in public and you're saying, I'm going to keep my heart open no matter what. And you start to feel nervous, or you start to feel something, and then you're going to start to hear this dialogue like it's not safe, whatever. That's when you communicate to yourself. I'm letting go. It's okay. I'm right here. I'm taking breaths. It's nothing to do with that here. It has to do with right here. So this is that practice of getting and staying in the 0 point. It's this awareness of where am I? What am I doing right here? Noticing that the mind wants to keep engaging in a story. But that's the game of the false matrix, okay? And so what we're doing, and this is something that's come up more recently for me, and I will start teaching about, and this is a different course, is that I'm referring to it as the God quotient. And that's what we're doing is we're engaging what I'm referring to as the God quotient, which is basically, it is a technology piece that I can see that is a calibration of love. And what we're doing is we're basically inserting this frequency of love between the brain and the heart. And what that's doing is it's allowing for an infinity. It's allowing for a communication that doesn't stop it, doesn't go jump to your head, jump to your heart, jump to your head. It allows for. So the practice, as we continue to open our hearts and just allow ourselves to feel, that's what we're doing. We're engaging our consciousness, which is pure love, to the mind and then back into the heart. And this is allowing for that infinity, which is pure experience, to occur. So, and you build that. You will continue to build that more and more and more. So I know that's a lot to bring you, but that felt like it all wanted to come through.
Awesome. And the key point of that, I think, one of the key points of that, Cathleena, is practice. This is a practice.
Yes.
It's not a one and done. You do it one time and you're done. It's an everyday, regular, every day during the day, regular, consistently being aware. This is about being aware of, where is your attention? Where are your thoughts? Where are your emotions? What's going on, right? And
because
go ahead.
Yeah, because we're consciousness, and so it's like, where is our consciousness? Where am I?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because nothing is outside of me. It's all me. And I love to say, we hear this a lot, I am source, but think about this, I am the source of my existence. I am the source of my existence. Just take that in for a minute. If I'm the source of my existence, what am I doing to myself? And why am I doing that?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, whoa, let me just go right there, forget anything out here. And it doesn't mean, the trick to this too is the brain's going to keep dialoguing, because the brain's been filled with all sorts of stuff and messages to provoke and create different frequencies and emotions, because our communication system has been hijacked through the original blueprint. So the original blueprint is the communication from the brain to the heart, but what the hijacking takes the brain to the from the heart to the brain, I'm sorry, but the hijacking takes the brain to the heart. So what ends up happening is, instead of us feeling our thoughts, we're thinking our emotions. And this is the key to shifting it. It's like we want to be able to feel our thoughts, and like, what is the emotion there, what's happening? Because remember what I said, the key to creation is the emotion here.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we feeling? Yeah, what's happening for us?
For sure. Absolutely. Thank you. And practice, it's a practice, it's a process. We are a work in progress as well. So let's talk about soul fragmentation and quantum entanglement.
Yeah. Well, soul fragmentation happens when I take a belief and I own it. That's really what it is. I fragment myself. That's what's happening, because I'm source consciousness. And when I forget that I'm source consciousness and I become something, so if I become, a woman in the way I'm identified, now I've fragmented my soul towards this direction called woman in the way that it's identified. And the imprint of whatever that is, whether it's whatever I identify it as, it creates an imprint, and that's where we get stuck in these aspects of self. And so what we're doing, and all the things that I do, is about bringing back home. And how do we do that? Is that we recognize you bring it home by this exact process I'm saying to you. You get to know who you are. As you have your own experience, then you can release that is not you. Because this is where we've just been guided. All the stories, we feel like we're helpless in this way, but we don't realize, how these imprints, when you're a child and the parent tells you something, that's when it's creating a fragmentation and an imprint right there. If a child, because children, as when we first come in, of course, we're everybody's extremely empathic. This is the law of one. We are all one. So there isn't any privacy. These things don't really exist, but we have these illusions of all this separation. And so every ways in which we identify with separation and we identify with being small, those are all fragmentations. That's us fragmenting our soul, and it's imprinting ourselves. And so what we're doing, and then we have stories upon stories, like trying to release those and bring those in, create shame and embarrassment. It's like, oh, how could I, have identified myself that way? Well, that even creates more, of it. And this is how brilliant the game is. But when you just realize it's all just experience, and this is where we talk about forgiveness, and this is in this divine forgiveness, which is forgive me, forgive you, love me, love you. Compassion for me, compassion for you, gratitude for me, gratitude for you, because I am you, you are me, we are one. And so that's very different than this forgiveness that we have with humanity. But I forgive you. It's forgiving yourself and the experience of whatever it is, so that we can release these illusions of shame and embarrassment and blame and all these stories that we're just compacting around the heart space. That's the game. Okay, and what happens when we fragment our souls too is that there are other consciousness that use them, because it is light, and so it's like then our consciousness is being connected to these different frequencies and energies, and we don't realize it, and that's that illusion that I don't have control about what's happening to me in my body and myself. So it's like, bring it all home, bring it all home, bring it all home. And this is again what I'm all about, is about releasing all of these, bringing in those soul fragments, bringing in that clarity, bringing in who you are, so that we all show up as our unique. Because this is the other part of the game, is that we're taught to find your uniqueness. You are unique automatically. And where we are right now is we are in the greatest level of sovereignty. Sovereignty means self-governed internally. So we're in the greatest representation of recognizing that. And recognizing, I like to use the example of recognizing that we are both the droplet of water and the ocean at the same time. So being able to have that recognition without the separation, and that's really the beauty of it.
Right.
That I am unique and I am one, and without having that feeling of any of those separations. That's the trick to all of this, right?
So we have all done this, I mean, we've all identified in some way, right? Even me saying I am Alara, that's an identification, right?
Sure.
So it's normal what we've all done. But the thing is, how much more have we focused on that separation and that identification of I am Alara than I am Source,
Yeah.
right? And again, it's a process and it's a practice. But in this reality too, though, we do need to have some of that identification, but without the separation.
Yeah, and it's all internal. Just think about it. What we're really talking about is everything going on in here. Again, forget everything here, because this, when we're dialoguing, this is where it can get confusing, is people are interpreting.
Yeah.
But the real thing is here. It's this vehicle. So in my I am presence, where I'm, sitting with you, I'm sitting in the 0 point, and I have, no separation of self in terms of my identification here, then I'm pure source to showing up in the 0 point, and here's another key to this. Everything we are light, sound, and water is how we are as individuations of source, right? And think about the sound and the just think about the sound aspect of who we are. And the sound aspect is the divine feminine aspect. It is the creator portion of us as creator beings in a physicality. And think about the sound of what you're talking and dialoguing to yourself, and the frequencies and energies of self. So this is where it's a big key part about our own existence, and that place of the idea of separation or not. It's like what am I, notice what is the dialogue that I'm doing to this vehicle all the time, and that will be what I'm feeling, all the time. It's like what am I dialoguing to myself?
Right. Yeah.
What if I don't have to be dialoguing to myself all the time? We're not taught to be in the unknown, to be in the place of pure creation. What if I let that just be a space? What if it's okay, just to be in the unknown? Practice that. Just allowing yourself to be in the unknown, to let the known come in.
Just for a few minutes. Doesn't mean all day, every day, forever. Just try it for a few minutes, just to be in the unknown. But it's uncomfortable, right? That's the thing.
Well, it's only uncomfortable because we've been guided, but it is the most profound place.
Yeah.
Because the unknown is the place where all is. Because the unknown is not unknown. It is the place of the zero. The 0 point is the place of no thing and all possibilities. And when you're in the 0 point, there is no identity. And so because we are so programmed in identity, there feels a scary, it's created to be scared. But when you realize it is like the most magnificent place, because it's the place of the no thing and all possibilities, then it's like, oh my gosh, it's the exploration place. Because we're allowed, because the difference in that is there's a flow in energetics when we're in that 0 point versus this place. Every time we identify, we're trying to create a stop. It's like a limit, all the time. But that's not how we are as energy and frequency. So if we allow ourselves to flow internally, then we still have a physicality, we can still have a physical body, we can still have a physical life, we have expression, we have stuff, but it's a different rigidity, it's a different way of expressing. That's what we're learning. We're learning how to express our energetics as a flow in a physical being,
right.
And what it feels like is like then your physical body feels light. It feels, the flow in the body is healthy. The flow in your abundance is healthy. Your relationships, everything has flow to it. So there still is. That's why I'm saying that's how you discover that you're the droplet of water and the ocean at the same time. So there is we don't have to call it identification, but there is a life created where you do have a physical body, you have a physical life, you have that, but it's not stagnant. It's actually flowing. This is that God quotient. This is that peace that I'm bringing. I'm also, part of how I operate is I'm not arbitrarily talking to anyone. I'm in the field, and we're moving energies as we're talking, because that's just how the energy and flows work. So all this is actually creating and moving within everybody's. So I can feel the lightness. I can feel everything opening up here.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that. It's not, these are not, when Cathleena and I are speaking, conversing, having an engagement, interaction, it's not just empty words, right? So there's a lot happening in the background through this conversation, through our interaction with all of you as well. So, and the cat.
Yeah, and the cat.
So somebody heard the cat. It's like, oh,
I know. I heard the cat too. I know, it's great. I know. I love cats. Cats are extremely psychic, so they're connecting into the energetics there. It's beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, there's so much more that I wanted to discuss, but do you want to take some questions?
Yeah, we can do questions, or I'm going to do an activation as well today, so I will do that.
All right. So again, if you have a question, you can raise your hand, or you can type your question in the chat. We'll try and take a few, and then we'll do the activation as well, because the activation is also always very powerful. So Linda, you want to unmute yourself?
Hi, Cathleena.
Hi there.
Hi. Okay. So I understand about staying in the 0 point, but say outside influences all of a sudden are impacting you really hard. I had one happen today. How do we stay in 0 point and not react to this threat? And it was a big threat, a lawsuit threat.
Well, again, it doesn't matter the literal situation. It matters how I react to it and what happens to me energetically. So in this case, it's like your energy contracted. So that's just like being in a room where we talk about shrinking my light, because that's what we're taught to do. So just imagine taking a breath and I'm going to expand my light. So if I expand my light into that situation, now I'm expanding my source consciousness into that. And I'm allowing for my oversoul or my higher self to actually engage with me, to bring me more information, then shut that down and only try to engage through the physical mind in this little limited box of where I am. You see what I mean? Because that's what happens. We're taught to do that. Shut down. I'm threatened. So, and I could feel the energetics with you. So it's about taking a breath. It's like going, okay, this is interesting. This hit me. I connected to it. So that's what happened. You shut down, you contracted, and you attached to all that. So it's like, okay, just be aware, lovingly aware. I'm just aware. Okay, that's what happened. So now, all right, I'm going to regroup, take a breath. I'm going to notice where my energy is. I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to expand my light, expand my energy out. And from that place, I'm going to start to kind of have, observations and questions to myself about what's the next move for me. What would I like to do? What's in relationship? What's the highest and best for me in relationship to this whole situation? And that way, see, we're in a place of my sovereignty. I'm in a place of presence, present moment. I'm feeling the energetics in my own field. Okay, you see the difference then, and like panic. So that's what we're taught to do. But it's being in that space. And where this gets a little confusing sometimes for people is when they get in that place of like, well, am I being complacent? Am I, no, we're simply allowing ourselves to open up my energetic field and allow myself, because again, it's all right here. What's the difference between, anything that happens? It's kind of like the difference between going, oh my God, I don't know where my money's coming from, to going, well, I don't know. I don't have any idea right now. And if I'm in that I don't know, then I can be in curiosity and be all of that. I can go, well, this is interesting, huh? I got a lawsuit. Well, that's interesting. Where did this come from? Or I can go, oh my gosh, It's like, what happened, right? And so it really is, and that's really the difference is kind of being in that more curious space of like, wow, let me see. Because it's, that's the I am source consciousness having experience me, or more curious, like, what did I bring into my energy? What is this about for me? That kind of, okay, so that's really how you express it, all right?
Okay, thank you.
And not reacting as and making something so significant, right? Because we are, a lawsuit, you automatically go into like shock,
Right.
and drama, and it's like, oh my God. But the thing is, and like Cathleena is saying, if you allow yourself to just be present, that energy of the lawsuit and whatever happens to be, isn't it going to move through more smoothly, Cathleena?
Yes, and everything about it ends up opening up because you contracted in the energy. So now you're matching a lot of things, and especially if somebody is angry and frustrated, all that. See, we're feeling all of that, but once we open up that space, remember what I said is we show up as source. No other frequency can sustain itself in source except source. So I'm in the 0 point aspect with it. So anything that's not in the 0 point is going to move. It's going to shift. It's how energy works.
Right.
Right. So yes, it's like being able to just allow it, Yeah, of course, when things happen, we have a reaction sometimes, but it's just noticing that without judgment to self,
judgment.
right? Releasing the judgment, allowing myself to be in, and then just be curious and opening your own heart. So I said, keep my heart open no matter what. I'm going to feel. I'm just going to be in a space with this, and I'm going to be like, what's this about? Okay, I'm curious. What's going to be the highest and best for this? Okay.
Ask questions, and asking asking the questions is going to help to even move the energy around as
Better,
well.
Yeah, from a place of neutrality. So the trick to that is like 99% of conversations, if not really 100%, are manipulation. And that is that I'm not just saying something, I'm trying to put something in you or take something from you. And what we want to be able to be is in the neutrality, in the pure speaking my truth. So the only way to find my truth is to let go and relax and expand my energetics. Otherwise, you're going to be reactive. If I'm reactive, I'm in a frequency that's different than I'm reacting. I'm pushing, I'm pulling. That's the game that's being played in all relationships around the whole planet. And the most important relationship to ourselves, we're doing that to ourselves. So this is what we're stepping out of. To be able to be in that present moment and just be in this place of like, what's really happening to me? Am I being triggered? And who is this? And what's happening? And what's going on? And what is this really about? Because that's how the energetics come into the field at all. And so when I dissipate that, now it doesn't have anywhere to continue. And now I can begin to unfold, what is this really about? You see?
And part of it is being the observer instead of being the participant.
Exactly.
Responder, yeah. I get it. Thank you very much, both of you. As always. Love you both.
Thank you, Linda.
Love you too. Thank you.
All right. Great question. I love that.
Yeah,
because
sure.
it's like so it's relevant, it happens, and yeah,
Sure.
we get pulled into the drama, right? So
Yeah, right. Because we
For
go
sure.
into that place of, panic.
yeah, exactly. All right, Ioana, do you want to unmute yourself?
Yes, thank you. I apologize, my camera is not working.
That's
Okay. I don't know, worries.
Thank you, Cathleena. Thank you, Alara. I resonate with everything you said. It's like, yes, my mind is sinking with joy. And then in the same time, when I try to have it in my body, to feel it in my body, the body is kind of not in sync with the mind. If I try to go in the heart to have the feeling when my mind agrees, I just have frustration, anger, fear. So it's a very big disconnect. So I hear what you say about practice, about trying that, but the body doesn't have a memory that can relate to. It's very unknown. It's very fearful. I don't know if it makes sense what I'm trying to say.
Can I just say something first, Cathleena, before you jump in? I just want to jump in quickly. So Ioana, right now in this moment, are you feeling anger, resentment, all the other stuff you mentioned?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're in your head, you're not in your heart. And that's
Yes.
really what I was going to say. You haven't figured out how to get in the heart space. You're not allowing yourself to be in the heart space.
it's
Because
not
there's
safe.
fear. Exactly.
Yeah.
There's fear. That's what you're saying. That's what we're taught. But actually, the heart space is the place of safety because it's the present moment. And this is where you have to talk to that. This is, and I would suggest a private session for this particular one for you. But this is where, this is a part of you. It's a younger version of you that's like, no. And this is where I said to you, we have to own how our current situation is serving us. So this anger, frustration, all that is serving you. There's a part of you,
Yes.
even if you don't feel, you want to hold on to it for some reason. And I could go deeper. I'm not going to do that right now. But there is, yeah, you're holding on to that, and it's like resentments and frustrations and angers and so on. And so, we have to acknowledge that first, and then be able to step into the heart, because in the heart is very, very hurt. You have a particular situation that I can feel in your life. I think there's more than one, but one I can definitely feel that is creating very much resentments and frustration and anger. And if you drop into your heart, there's so much hurt in relationship to that you don't know how to let go. You haven't figured out what to do with that. It feels like in your energy, maybe it's unforgivable or something like that. But it's really you to you that needs to be the forgiven. It's not about the other person. And that's what needs to be acknowledged. It's like you adult you need to talk to this younger version and love her, because that's what I'm feeling, and let her realize it's safe to come into your heart, because you have her. You're going to help her, you're going to love her, and you're going to bring her into the world. But there's I can definitely feel a lot of dialoguing going on in that.
Thank you. Yeah, you're right. I feel like I'm banging my head on the pentagons. I'm in a pentagon cell, and every time I want to get out, I hit a wall, another shape of the pentagon. Here I am again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. You're hitting I think today's activation is going to help you quite a bit with that, because the particular one I'm feeling that's going to work through. But I'd say I would definitely have a private session if you can, because I can work in that energetic field and help you with some things like that.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Ioana.
Yeah.
All right. So because you were just talking about what a private session, what does a private session with you look like?
Yeah. Well, anybody who knows me knows that the first thing I always say is, what brings you to them? But for me, because I explained before that I carry the 0 point and this awareness of all these templates and this geometry. So when I'm working with a person, I'm able to look at all the different templates and all the different aspects of where their consciousness is, where their body is. So we can clear a lot of different elements of this lifetime, past lifetimes, just many, many different things, and working through dimensional fields, to work through just a lot of, it's very intricate, and it's very unique for each individual, how I work with them.
Awesome. Thank you. So because we're talking about personal session and what that looks like, let's segue into talking about the package, and then after that we'll do the activation. Okay?
Okay, sure.
How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Yes, I know. So I'm just going to share the link in the chat here. A second. So I hope she doesn't walk on my keyboard again. Yeah, do not walk on my keyboard again. Okay? Do not walk on my keyboard again. She's like,
Well, she just might, because she just wants some attention.
I know, right? She just might do that. Okay, I'm just going to share my screen quickly. Yeah. All right, so Cathleena, this time around you have a new package, a new training coming up, right? Restoring the beginning soul fragmentation imprint.
Yeah, and this is recorded. It is recorded.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not live.
Okay.
I mean, everything that I do is in the 0 point. So they are live. Basically, I mean, they're not live, but they're always in the present moment. And so no matter when you listen, they're in the present moment. And each time you listen, they're in the present moment. So each time it's also new.
True.
Yeah.
But this is the new 9-week series, right? That's coming up. Or this.
Well, this is not. Yeah, I
this
do
package.
have another one, but this is not. Yeah. This is. I have on my website. There are 9-week of this particular brain and body series, and this is just. I think this might be the first one that's in that series. I don't remember, but yeah.
Yeah.
This is the
So
one that we're
but
talking about.
normally in the past you've done 5 weeks, right? But this time
5 weeks. No,
nine
these are
weeks.
nine. These
Yeah.
are 9 weeks because they're encompassing all the body systems and then the brain itself.
Right. So
So,
go ahead.
so yeah, so this is restoring the original soul fragmentation. So it's this fragmenting of the soul, and you know, it's releasing. What's it called? Oh yeah, restoring. I can't remember the name of it now. Go back to the beginning now. What's it called? Restoring the original soul fragmentation and releasing the imprint of judgment. So yeah, the imprinting that took place in judgment of all the various different aspects about the various body systems and the brain itself. And then I go into detail. And the way that all these are done is that I'm guided. I channel a written portion, and then I read that. And so the written portion is one level of energy being able to shift and exchange, and then I do an activation that shifts and exchanges. And so there's different levels, and it's all about, how judgment actually interacts with the particular body systems, because I describe what each body system, like in this case, the cardiovascular systems, the Hauser, the heart complex, and just talks about what that is, and then it tells what happens when we engage judgment within that system, and then we clear it. And so these are very intricate, they're very deep, there's a lot of things going on because we don't realize how these frequencies are engaging. Judgment is a huge frequency, of course, in our body. And because, we are consciousness and everything about our existence is through this vehicle, this is why these are so profound. And this is why I do a lot of things are based on the body in everything, because the body is the key, to our entire existence, really.
Absolutely. So I'm just showing briefly a little bit about what the 9 systems are, right? So there's,
Yeah. It's just basically all the body systems and then the brain. Yeah, it's
and so this package A is the 9 systems,
9
week by week.
Yeah. Yeah.
And 2 and 3 part payment plans are available, and of course a 24-hour special gift code from me, TACS10. And then package B is the 9-week series plus a personal session with you, and we just talked a little bit about what that private session with you looks like. And so so the package B is $297, and again 2 and 3 part payment plans are available, and the 24-hour special gift code TACS10. So please do take advantage of this special working with Cathleena, especially because I think in the past couple of times you were not offering a personal session, so please do take advantage of this, because Cathleena doesn't always offer personal sessions. So I would definitely work with Cathleena more in depth and it's not just to clear the judgment imprint, but whatever else is going on with you as well, to work with whatever else is coming up for you in that moment. So this package is available at alara.at/show/Cathleena10. So please take a look at that. Is there anything else you wanted to say about the package?
No, I think we pretty much summed it up. I just really know that this particular one is a very profound series. I mean, all of them I think are very profound, but judgment is such a huge piece, and it's such a huge piece in all that we are. Releasing these imprints and restoring those fragmentations is huge in your health and well-being, in both, particularly physical body, but your entire existence.
Yeah, exactly. And part of that means also having greater access to the 0 point on a more regular basis, more consistent basis, really being present with that, and knowing, like, this is not just theoretical knowing, but having that deep connection, knowing that you are source, and not the identification, and not the separation from source, that you are that, right?
Because
and you are the creator.
As we continue to release these types of imprints and things within, then we get to feel more who we are in our day-to-day. That's really how it works. We don't realize how these imprints have been affecting our whole being, and I mean, particularly your physical body, but your entire existence.
Yeah, exactly. And once those start to get released or cleared, then it's like you emerge as a new person almost.
Well, you are. Yes, you are, absolutely.
Of who you really are, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
You do emerge as a new person 100%. Absolutely.
magical.
Magical.
All
Yeah.
right, so I know you want to do an activation.
Sure.
So, okay, so what is the activate? I know someone had requested an inner child healing as well.
hmm Yeah, well, this is going to be, what I'm feeling is just doing we're just going to do a clearing and a balancing of anything that's in the field and, and just bringing into a 0 point um, everybody's consciousness at this moment. That's just really what I'm feeling. So that's what I'm going to step into. Okay. And, for those that haven't experienced me, I make a lot of sounds. I do a lot of strange things. Just kind of go with it because I have a lot of light language and different things that occur. All right. So if everyone wants to close their eyes and take some nice deep breaths. And then we'll go like that. You make us concocos to me like us. Apagados. Going to go to those. Kata kasih nunggu papa. Ini kalau kasih nunggu kas. Ini kalau apa bos kas. Cuma pokas. Imokota kasih susun kisah kata kasih kusun bahasa kasih. Kata kasih nunggu papa kas. Akash kami bos. Take a really deep breath. Close all portals, gateways, pathways, meridians, stargates, wormholes of any access to my energy, past, present, and future, and all space-time continuum. Release any entities, energies, inorganic frequencies, inorganic technologies, past, present, and future, and all space-time continuum. Release any tags or implants of any ownership. No consciousness has ownership over my body or my consciousness. Past, present, and future, and all space-time continuum. Take a deep breath. Esa kashish munglax. Asa kama. Asir kishma. Ashira kasi kusnila kasma papas. Take a deep breath. Clear through all dimensional fields. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and beyond. So we're going to bring up Sophia Gaia is bringing up her crystalline codes of the ascension of the original human genome and original human blueprint, the elements earth, fire, air, water, ether, and the diamond blue plasmic flame, the 6th element, calibrating, integrating to all aspects of self, mental, physical, spiritual, etheric, the quantum level of your DNA, from your carbon DNA to your crystalline DNA. We're awakening your 12-strand DNA. So we're awakening the original human genome, the original human blueprint, the organic blueprint, to the degree of your oversoul and the will of your consciousness in this now moment. I'm a wicked about that. You know, like I think of it. I'm going to call forward the highest and most profound healing and healing miracles take place this now divine moment according to divine law and order and the will of the oversoul. We're going to ask for all that no longer serves you to simply release with grace and ease. I just want you to imagine particles floating out of your body like dirt, just letting them go. So limits, limitations, and any fear, any fight or flight, any of the victim, victimizer frequencies, holographic inserts, consciousness traps, reversal timeline loops, any and all 5G sonic frequencies, MK Ultra mind control, any viral or COVID frequencies, past, present, and future, and all space-time continuum. Taking out all fear, all fight or flight. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. I'm just going to disengage the mind for some of you because there's a lot of interference. I'm going to disengage some of that mind matrix. Take a deep breath. Just imagine little particles floating out of your head. There you go, out of your head, your brain. Beautiful. Take a deep breath. Just plugging you completely into pure prime creator. Your root into Sophia Gaia, as above, as below, as below, as above. Bringing this into this present moment. Just take another nice deep breath. calling in the 18th dimensional diamond consciousness of water, and we're bringing in divine clarity and divine flow to allow for this to continue through all timelines, all dimensional fields. Beginning to imagine energetic roots coming out your legs, out your feet, wrapping around the crystalline core of the earth. These are crystal clear roots. Bringing this calibration into this present moment, into the heart space, into the 0 point. Take a big breath. Okay, when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Drink of water. Tell me how you feel.
I don't want to open my eyes just yet, but oh my goodness, there was so much yawning. Oh my God, so much heat. I just felt like there was so much energy moving through me, things being released, I want to say old patterns and beliefs, yes, but it was more like just old things that no longer are relevant even, you know? Dada says lots of chest tension too. I didn't feel anything like me, mostly it was in my root and of course the head part. When you said the mental stuff, you know, it's like, yeah. The mind stuff, it's like, yeah, that's me. Let's let all that go. So yes, how was it for all of you? What did you experience? Share in the chat if you can. Lisbeth says, thank you so much. Cathleena, I still can't see properly because I'm not quite fully back, so definitely drink some water.
Yeah.
Sharon asks, thank you. Are the eyes included in the package? Because you really see with your brain. I just ordered the package with a session. So are the eyes included in the package?
Well, the eyes are in
Part of the brain?
Yeah, part of the body systems. I don't remember what system that the eyes are. Yes, but well, because we do all the body systems, so of course.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Sharon. Yeah, I mean, like, because, you know, as like in this moment right now, I'm like, I can't quite see properly yet, you know, but that happens to me when I'm going through energy, doing energy work or whatever. There's a shift in perception, but there's a little bit of a shift in seeing. So it takes a minute.
Yeah, because there was a lot, well, this particular energetics, there was just a lot of expansion and clearing. I mean, I felt the energy just completely open up, and then it was like bringing in the codes and aligning with everybody. So it was a lot of shifting, which is going to continue shifting for a lot of people within their energetic field.
Yeah,
You know, I mean,
and so much yawning. So, you know, for me, when I'm yawning, it means the energy is moving, the energy is shifting. Arietta says, wow, it was so beautiful and so powerful. Thank you, Cathleena. Blessings and love to you both and to the whole group. Thank you, Arietta. Sherry says, wow, felt like my spine was being upgraded. Ooh,
Yeah.
I like that.
Nice.
Ooh, my spine could do some upgrading. I'm going to take some of that.
Yeah, nice.
You know, it's interesting, you know, having this conversation today. What reminded me this morning when I woke up, you know, you wake up, you go to the bathroom, you look at yourself in the mirror, right? And a few minutes later, when I looked at myself in the mirror again, I was totally different. So the first time when I looked at myself in the mirror, I was not the same person as I was when I looked at myself in the mirror again 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
Right. And I realized, like, oh, I've automatically switched so quickly into the old me, like who I normally am, then when I just, then the person who I just woke up and that's who I really am, not the person who is identifying with
Right,
me
the
and my
persona
body,
that you came
right?
into, right?
Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah,
So it was just
yeah,
it was interesting that I was able to be aware of that this morning. So it's like, ooh,
yeah. You
interesting.
had a strong awareness. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Ioana says, how far in Kathleena's schedule will the individual sessions be?
Well, right now, I mean, my schedule is probably, you'll probably see January, but you can send me an email. If you're flexible in your schedule, you can send me an email and I'll look and see if there's somewhere that I can find you sooner. I do have some, but I don't offer that unless unless you're very flexible, because I can't go back and forth and try to figure out the time. But
Yeah.
if you're flexible, then yeah, I will look into see if I find you something sooner.
Yeah. Awesome.
But I'm very busy.
So go ahead and book the session for whenever you can. And then if it's too far out or whatever, then, email Cathleena and see if she can find you something sooner.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, as often I can, because that's usually the way it
You are the symphony. Oh,
is.
I like that. That's nice, Sharon.
Right.
All right. Any other last words of wisdom that you want to share with us, or anything else that came in through that activation that you think might be relevant as an explanation?
Well, I just really feel like that, where we are as consciousness, where everybody is, and I can feel it, is we're in such a wake up of who we really are, and it feels like that the biggest things that are coming forward is really having a greater understanding, and I talk about that a lot. I love the word understand and understand, of sovereignty, of what that really means. I mean, that seems to be the biggest key, is that know thyself, get to know yourself. And that's what really happened in the activation. So, you may not be able to articulate it because people, depending on where their energetic fields or what they're aware of, but I'm very aware of the field. And so what I was experiencing was stepping in and being able to see the places of where a lot of fear was. And it's interesting because the one thing that actually struck out the most is when I spoke about releasing any COVID or viral, there was a fear that shot through the group. And I found that really interesting, because I'm in the place of releasing that, but yet the fear element stuck in. And so there's, it's really like, what are we really aligned to? What are we afraid of? What's happening to ourselves, and where are we energetically? Those are the pieces that I was feeling, that was taking place. And it's really just, everything is energy and frequency. And so when we realize, that we're source consciousness, and we are the source of our, our whole existence, we can release frequencies. You really can. And I know people say, well, it's not as simple. It is simple and complicated at the same time. And the simple part is, you really can say, I'm just done with that experience, of whatever the experience is. But the tricky part is that I have to acknowledge how it's been serving me. I have to be real. I have to get really real with myself. I have to notice. I'm going to give an example of that before we end here, where I had with myself, as I was walking around my building, and and I'm meeting a neighbor, and there's another neighbor that came by, and like, in the deepest part of myself, I really want to have greater depth connections with people and friendships and things like that. And I say hi, and I walk away, and I noticed that there was a place in me that I was surprised, that was deep inside, that was dialoguing in my head, of all the differences, like, oh, maybe they won't know me, they won't like me because I'm this, energy healer, I'm this, or whatever it was saying. And I was like very surprised to hear that, like, in the subconscious, deep inside myself, that was playing out. But I was like, oh, and then I realized, I looked at her, and it was a little tiny version of me that was standing there, just kind of like this. And I was like, oh, wow, you're still having a little bit of fear of coming forward. And so I was like, no, I love you, let's come forward. And that was just another dialogue of saying, I'm going to keep my heart open no matter what. And I brought her forward and into my heart. I was like, no. So it was just another level of like realizing, oh, wow, okay, I wasn't fully present. I wasn't fully, and so that's just really the practice, is like, oh, wow, okay, we've got this dialogue, and it's just noticing, and it's noticing it with love and care for yourself and for others. And that's just the biggest process. just noticing. You know, we have nothing to lose by, in this now moment, taking a breath and just releasing the tension, the effect of whatever story or words are doing to us. You know, even if you don't have the full belief system of what it's doing, you have nothing to lose by just feeling better here. But it is the most profound thing you can do, because we are source consciousness. And when we are doing that, that is the magic to everything in your reality. It is the magic to everything that you seek. You are that you seek. 100%.
Beautiful. That's powerful. And part of that is like you were able to be present in that moment and recognize it and be aware of it and bring it in, right? And say, yes, it's okay.
Yeah, and open it up further so that, you know, that isn't playing out in the background, because this is what's happening, is that we've got all these things. It's like, you know, when you walk into a room and there's some kind of music playing in the background, and you're just kind of immune to it for a while, and you don't realize the effects of it. But that's what's been happening to us, and we're just waking up to what's been playing in the background.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder
And
what's
it's
been playing in the
magical.
background. Yeah.
Yeah, it's magical. I mean, really, it is the magic for perfect health, for your life, for everything that you're seeking. And you guys are all amazing creator beings. Everyone is. And just, you know it in your heart. Let go, enjoy life. Let's all have some fun. Let's create real community. That's what I'm desiring. I want to create
Yeah,
some
exactly. And again, no judgment, just
judgment.
compassion for the choices, you know, that we've made in the
everything.
past, or the identifications we've made. It's
Yeah.
okay. But the more that you're aware of it, the more that you can recognize it, the more that you can say, I'm done with that. You know, it's like, okay, I think I'd rather have a different experience, right?
Yeah,
And you can choose that, having that different
exactly.
experience. But again, you're not running away from something,
Right.
right? It's about choosing something different because you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah, it's just recognizing, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. Thank you. And again, if you'd like to work with Cathleena, you can look at the packages that are available at alara.at/show/Cathleena10. You can work with her in the 9-week recorded program, or you can work with her in package B, which includes a 50-minute personal session with Cathleena, as well as the 9-week series. Okay, awesome. So again, that's the alara.at/show/Cathleena10. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Cathleena. Thank you, everybody, for all your questions, comments, and feedback. Thank you for co-creating this beautiful experience for all of us. I always say this, but I highly recommend you go back and watch or listen to this show with Cathleena, because there's always so many nuggets, so much wisdom, and as well, all the energy that's flowing through the whole time as well, right? So please take advantage of it, use it, bring it into you as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, great. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And until next time, may you continue to be blessed with an abundance of joy, peace, love, happiness, prosperity, and radiant health. Sending you all much love and blessings always. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.